Yo, Cardi B just went nuclear on a blogger live in front of the whole internet, and what she said about being touched is gonna shake every gossip page in the building. She didn't just deny it. She dared them to post a date, the photo, the receipts, and threatened to drag whoever started it through the mud, all while Stefon Diggs was quietly geotagging Harlem like a man on a mission. And Stefon really thought sliding back into her city after this Christmas was a smart move? Brew picked the worst possible week to play detective. Before we get into it, subscribe, don't miss it. Belcalis Almanza, the Bronx's loudest export, the woman the world knows as Cardi B, pulled up to an X Spaces live stream this past weekend and detonated a bomb under the entire blog ecosystem. No PR statement, no publicist filter, no press release written by some Harvard intern in a Midtown office. Just Cardi, a microphone, and a blogger who picked the wrong week, the wrong woman, and the wrong rumor to play with. The Spaces went live on Saturday, June 20th, 2026, and within hours the clips were everywhere. Instagram Reels, TikTok edits, X repost chains, group chat screen recordings that your auntie sent you at 11 p.m. with the caption "Girl." The complex write-up of the broadcast captured the energy almost immediately, framing it as a celebrity tooth rumor showdown that quickly turned into something much bigger. What started as Cardi addressing one specific lie about a man hitting her and allegedly knocking out her tooth turned into a wide-open verbal autopsy of the entire blog that had been chasing her name for months. And listen, you'll gotta understand what this means. Cardi B does not log into Spaces to whisper. Cardi B logs into Spaces to operate. When she went live that Saturday, she didn't just deny the rumor. She torched it. She lit it on fire. She danced around the ashes, and then she pulled out a second can of gasoline for the same blogger because she was just getting warmed up. Because allegedly, and this is the part that made the whole internet sit up straight, that same blogger was also reportedly flashing photos of a newborn son. Cardi's baby, a child who, until November of last year, the world had not even seen a face shot of yet, as documented in the in-style coverage of her first carefully curated baby photos. I'ma be honest with y'all. When I heard the audio, I had to pause my dinner. I had to put the fork down. Because there's a specific tone Cardi as when she's joking, and there's a specific tone Cardi as when she's about to file paperwork. This was the second one. This was lawyer on retainer Cardi. This was, I will end your entire blog, and your cousin's blog too, Cardi. And the blogger? The blogger had no idea what was coming. That blogger really thought they had something. Bro really woke up on a Saturday morning, sipped his oat milk latte, opened his laptop, and thought, you know what? Let me make up a domestic violence story about a Bronx girl with a Grammy and a $70 million tour grossing under her belt. That's not journalism. That's not even gossip. That's a death wish written in HTML. And we're about to walk through every single receipt that shows exactly why this whole thing backfired in real time. Buckle up. Let's go straight to the tape. On that June 20th Spaces, Cardi didn't tiptoe, didn't read off notes, didn't do that fake calm celebrity voice. She went bar for bar, the way you talk when somebody insults your mother at a barbecue. She said, and I quote from the broadcast capture by Complex, "Why are you lying and saying that an asterisk touched me and knocked my tooth out? First of all, I don't give AF asterisk if I'm beefing with an asterisk. If I hate an asterisk, one thing I'm not going to do is go and lie on a motherfucker. AN never even laid a nail on me. I don't play that domestic violent bullshit asterisk. Yo, I had to rewind that 3 times. 3. Because that was not the Cardi B that does Pepsi commercials. That was not the Cardi B that does Met Gala carpets. That was Bronx Cardi. That was a Cardi that grew up watching her mama's neighbors deal with real situations. The Cardi who knows the difference between a punchline and a pattern of abuse. And she made sure the whole internet heard the difference too. Then she went personal. And this is a line that should have made every blogger in the building close their laptop and resign. She said, as transcribed in the Face-to-Face Africa breakdown, "But one thing I never see my father do was hit and touch my mom. My dad never hit my mom. Even when my mom used to beat the shit asterisk out of him in front of us, you know what my dad used to do? Walk away. Just walk away." That's a whole memoir in 3 lines. That's a whole therapy session. That's the kind of sentence you'd expect in the prologue of a National Book Award winner, and Cardi just dropped it live on Spaces between sips of whatever she was drinking. Whoever started that DV rumor really pulled at the ONE thread. Cardi is not playing about. Her father, her mother, her household. The specific image of a Dominican man walking away from a fight instead of swinging back. That's not a script. That's a childhood memory. And the blogger that triggered that memory? Yeah, they about to learn a very expensive lesson. Then she pivoted to the veneers, and honestly that was a moment the blogger officially lost a round, the match, and the tournament. She said, in another clip preserved by Complex, do you know that when you have veneers, if your teeth get knocked out and everything, your whole mouth will have to change? You could see these teeth that I have. I've been having them for years. And then, she dared them. She said, matter of fact, go ahead and prove it. Why would you be so sick and say that? Post a day when that happened. 'Cause every single day I take pictures of myself. Bro, B.O. That's the dumbest flex the blogger could have made. Cardi B is one of the most photographed women in modern music. Her camera roll has more timestamps than a hospital chart. You really thought she didn't have receipts of every smile, every selfie, every face card moment of the last decade? You really tried to play tooth detective with a woman who has had professional photographers on payroll since 2017? Embarrassing. Genuinely, professionally embarrassing. And she still wasn't done. Because Cardi doesn't run one play. She runs a whole playbook. She blasted that same blogger for allegedly claiming to have photographs of her newborn son, the baby she's been calling Baby Brim, Baby Touchdown, every nickname except his actual name. She called the behavior, per the same Complex transcript, sick and twisted. And that's where I sat up. That's where the audio stopped being about a tooth and started being about something way more serious. Because Cardi has been so guarded with this child that the first photos didn't even hit the internet until November 19th, 2025, 5 days after he was born. And even then, as the InStyle exclusive made very clear, she did not show his face. Not the eyes. Not the chin. Just little baby hands, blanket textures, the back of a head. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. That's a mother who has watched what the internet does to celebrity kids and decided not mine, not today, not ever. So if a blogger really pulled out unauthorized baby photos like it was a flex? Nah, that's not journalism. That's not gossip. That's not even reaching. That a federal level lack of home training. And Cardi making sure to fold that allegation into the same spaces where she addressed the DV rumor? That was no accident. We'll come back to that move in Part C because it's actually the slickest part of the whole strategy. And one more receipt before we move on, because this didn't start in June. This started back on December 29th, 2025, when the first Drag Cardi wave picked up steam over the Christmas holiday. Cardi went on X, as documented by Revolt, and posted, "You'll need to calm down. Is y'all cool? Y'all been dragging me for 3 or 4 days. I already had a baby. You'll want me to put my baby back in my P**********y. She also fired off, "You want me to just leave my man and just go and F*** yours? We can only go forward now." I read that and had to do a triple take. Is she serious? She is 6 weeks postpartum, allegedly recovering from a C-section, allegedly figuring out a brand new blended family situation, and she's out here begging her own fan base to chill while a blogger crosstown is somewhere in a Brooklyn loft inventing fake domestic violence scenes? The audacity of the internet that week was unreal. Genuinely unreal. Now that we've got the quotes locked in, let's connect the dots, because the timing of all this is way too clean to be random. That June 20th Spaces did not drop in a vacuum. Nothing in hip-hop drops in a vacuum. That broadcast hit the timeline right after weeks of Stefon Diggs catching legal hit after legal hit, including a personal chef civil suit and a separate sexual assault lawsuit from an influencer he then countersued for defamation, all of which has been mapped out in the Fox News and Outkick coverage of his ongoing court calendar. So when a DV rumor about Cardi suddenly materialized out of nowhere, when somebody just conveniently decided that the ex of a man fighting violence allegations also had her tooth knocked out by a mystery boyfriend, the timing screamed piggyback. Somebody in the gossip ecosystem saw Diggs plus violence allegations trending on a Tuesday and figured Cardi was a free shot, an easy 2-for-1 news cycle. Bad math. Wrong target. The blogger picked the smartest woman in the room thinking she was the easiest. Now rewind to that Christmas tweet storm. Cardi's outburst dropped 3 days after Diggs posted Instagram stories with his other kids on Christmas morning, one of which was captioned, as Ola reported, "One of my boys' first Christmas." The internet instantly went into meltdown mode. They wanted Cardi to be hurt. They wanted screenshots. They wanted tears. But here's the part nobody wanted to sit with, and this is a part that recontextualizes the entire Christmas blow-up. According to Cardi's longtime best friend Ken Barbie, real name Ken Davis, whose tweets were reposted across Ola, the reason it played out that way is because the other baby mothers reportedly have boundaries about their children being around Cardi without them present. That's not a betrayal. That's not a slight. That's a brand new blended family that's barely 12 months deep trying to figure out custody rotation, holidays, group chats, who's at whose house on what morning, and which adults are even on speaking terms. That's not Stefon snubbing Cardi. That's 6 adults trying to navigate a logistical Rubik's Cube during the most emotionally loaded week of the year. Now look at the actual relationship timeline, because the timeline matters more than any single tweet. Cardi and Diggs were first linked in October 2024. They made it Instagram official in June 2025. She announced a pregnancy in September 2025 while still finalizing her divorce from Offset. The baby arrived November 14th, 2025, as confirmed by the Boston Herald rundown of the relationship's milestones. So you're looking at a relationship that was barely 13 months old getting dropped into a Christmas morning with 5 other Diggs kids in the picture, 3 different mothers in the equation, and a public still trying to process the fact that Cardi just had a baby with a Buffalo Bills receiver 3 weeks earlier. Any smart advisor would have said go slow, blend the kids in over summer barbecues, work through the holidays year 2. But Stefon? Per the same Boston Herald timeline, Stefon had 3 babies born in 2025 alone with 3 different women. That's not the timing of a man planning around any one partner. That's the timing of a man whose calendar is doing things his common sense should have stopped. Now flash forward, because the timeline keeps escalating. After the Patriots got smoked 29-13 in Super Bowl 60, Cardi confirmed the split publicly on February 15th. 2026, mid-show in Los Angeles. She told a Crypto.com arena crowd, in a moment captured by the Boston Herald breakdown of the breakup, "Just because I ain't Finn with my baby daddy doesn't mean you get to talk about my baby daddy. Be asterisk." And that split happened mere days after Diggs pleaded not guilty to felony strangulation and assault charges connected to his former personal chef, also reported in the Boston Herald legal recap. So Stefon Diggs really managed to stack a lost Super Bowl, a felony arraignment, and a high-profile public breakup into the same news cycle? That's not bad luck. That's terrible scheduling. Brew. That's a man whose entire February calendar was a stress test, and every single appointment came back red. And now here we are in June 2026. His tour rehearsal grind for the upcoming season is supposed to be locking in. Her Little Miss Drama tour wrapped on April 18th, grossing over $70 million, making it, as celebrated in the XXL via Facebook industry recap, the highest-grossing debut arena tour by a female rapper ever. Ever. Not this decade, ever. Cardi is gliding through New York looking expensive and unbothered. Stefon is in a meeting with his lawyers. And just days ago, Stefon dropped a story with the geotag Harlem splashed across his face like a Snapchat banner from 2017. Harlem, as in Cardi City, as in not Buffalo, not Foxborough, not Minneapolis, not Maryland. Harlem. That post landed right as his mother, Stefon Diggs, known online as Ma Diggs, was reportedly pushing hard for him to fix things with Cardi. Per Yahoo Entertainment, Ma Diggs has been publicly saying Cardi should take her son back. So let me get this straight. Stefon Diggs doesn't have a publicist running damage control. Stefon Diggs has his mimar running his PR. When your mother is on the internet campaigning for your reconciliation, your team is cooked. Your team is medium well plated and being served with a side of humility. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out, because nobody, and I mean nobody, is talking about the specific word Cardi kept using on that Spaces. Listen back to the audio. Pull it up right now. She didn't say hit me. She didn't say touched me. She kept saying he never laid a nail on me. A nail, as preserved in the complex transcript. That phrase comes back over and over like a refrain. That's a Bronx girl phrase. That's a Latina mom phrase. That's how the abuelers talk in the projects, in the bodegas, in the back of the salon while somebody's getting a relaxer washed out. No me pongas you and dado encima. No me pongas you ni una. A finger, a fingernail, the smallest possible unit of physical contact, weaponized into a warning. That language tells you everything. She wasn't reading from a PR script. She wasn't workshopping a soundbite. She was talking from the kitchen table, the way her grandmother would say it if somebody disrespected the family at a christening. When somebody slides into Bronx Spanglish that fast on a live stream, the rage is real. The rage is generational. And the blogger really thought they were ready for that energy. Bro thought he was about to clap a pop star and ended up swinging at 3 generations of Dominican women at once. Embarrassing. Now zoom into the veneers line one more time, because there's a forensic detail buried in there that 90% of the audience miss on the first listen. She didn't say, "I never had a tooth knocked out." She specifically said, per the complex coverage, that every single time you get veneers, your mouth looks different. That is a forensic flex. That is a court exhibit. That's her telling the blogger, telling the audience, and telling, most importantly, telling any defamation attorney listening in, my dentist would have a record. The lab in California would have a record. The mold of my mouth would have a record. The CAD scan would have a record. Cosmetic dentistry leaves a paper trail that is basically tamper-proof, and Cardi has been pointing at the same exact smile since Bodak Yellow hit in 2017. The shape of her teeth is evidence. She wasn't begging the blogger to believe her. She was telling them, in front of God and everyone on Spaces, I will file a defamation suit so fast your blog will look like a GeoCities page by Friday. And the blogger thought she'd just cry-queed about it for 48 hours and let it die? Nah. This is a woman who just won a civil case and walked out of court grinning. She knows how a courthouse runs. She knows what discovery looks like. She knows what a deposition feels like. And she knows exactly how much it costs to make a small blogs lawyer say, we need to settle. Now look at the Harlem geotag itself, because the more I think about it, the funnier it gets. A geotag is not subtle. A geotag is the opposite of subtle. A man who genuinely wants to slide in private goes to a hotel, turns off location services, pays cash for the Uber, and ghosts on the gram for 48 hours. A man who wants her to see his outside slaps Harlem right across his face on the main grid in big block letters. That is a flare gun. That is a bat signal. That is a man saying, I'm here. Where you at? Please notice me. And the timing, just days after her Spaces went viral, and she became the entire internet's main character again, that's the move of a man trying to ride the algorithm of her name back into her DMs. He saw the metric spike, he saw the trending tab, and he figured, if I just stand in her neighborhood, maybe the wave will carry me back. Bro really did the Offset Playbook page 4 page. He even forgot the part where Offset's Captain Saber Monaco moment last month, when he allegedly jumped into what looked like a trafficking situation in the south of France, actually made him look like the better ex by accident. That's wild company to lose to. You are losing the ex-husband Olympics to a man who got involved in an international incident in Monte Carlo. Stefon, my guy, that is a tier you don't want to be ranked underneath. Now, the legal fine print on Stefon, because Part A skipped it on purpose. We're getting to it now. The personal chef criminal track ended with a jury verdict of not guilty on the assault and strangulation charges, as confirmed by the ESPN court recap. That's a win on paper. But the civil docket? Still wide open. Still ticking. Still very much a problem. Add to that, Stefon Diggs, Stefon's brother, pleaded no contest of felony assault in a separate matter that the accuser, Griffith, claimed Stefon coordinated, according to the NBC Boston follow-up. And there's another guy out here suing Stefon, alleging the working relationship soured and that Diggs allegedly sent associates to handle it, per the Yahoo Sports breakdown. That's 3 different cases, 3 different accusers, 3 different lanes of legal exposure, all pointing at the same vibe. So when Cardi went on Spaces and said, I don't play DV, and pointed out that her dad walked away from her mom, she wasn't just defending herself. She was drawing a moral line in the sand that very conveniently puts a canyon of daylight between her brand and Stefon's legal vibes. Coincidence? Hip-hop don't do coincidences. If Stefon had half a strategist on his team, he would have noticed she was building public distance from him before responding with a Harlem geotag. She was telling the world, before he even posted, I'm not affiliated with that energy. And he watched it happen and still chose to wave from her zip code. Now let's see how the media covered all this, because the framing tells you everything. Complex framed the Spaces moment as a straight celebrity tooth-rumor denial, clean, factual, blogger vs rapper, the headline-friendly version that fits in a push notification. The Complex angle treated it like a quick news beat. Rumor goes up, denial comes down, end of story. Face to Face Africa took the same exact broadcast and emphasized a completely different layer, the trauma layer. They led with her parents. They led with a walk-away line. They led with the emotional architecture under the diss. Same spaces, same audio, same Cardi. But the Face to Face Africa framing turned the story into a generational survival narrative. Two outlets, two completely different framings. And both are technically correct. But watch which one the algorithm pushed harder over the next 48 hours. The trauma framing got more shares because it makes Cardi look like a survivor of generational cycles. The legal framing got more clicks because it sets up a defamation arc that gossip readers can follow week to week. Either way, she wins a news cycle. Both versions of the story are versions where Cardi is a hero. There is no third version in circulation where she's a villain. Read that twice. Now Boston Herald framed the February breakup as a tour stage moment. Cardi clapping back at BIA in LA on February 15th with the now iconic Name 5 BIA songs line, with Diggs reduced to a side character with 3 catches for 37 yards in the Super Bowl, as itemized in the Boston Herald postgame and tour wrap. That's the loser framing. That's the framing where Stefon is a footnote in her concert review. Ola, on the other hand, framed the Christmas drama as blended family normalcy, leaning hard on Ken Barbie's tweets to soften everything down to a logistics issue. Ola gave you the nothing to see here, it's just blended family scheduling version. Big difference in spin. Boston Herald gave you the doom loop framing for Diggs, Super Bowl 50, plus breakup, plus felony charges, all in one news cycle. Ola gave you the everybody's fine, the kids are great framing. So which one's right? If the breakup was really nothing, why did people report mutual Instagram unfollows the very day after the Super Bowl loss? The People's Social Audit confirmed both sides scrubbed each other from their grids within 24 hours. The receipts don't lie. The receipts never lie. Instagram unfollows are the modern equivalent of taking the ring off in a Tyler Perry movie. It's a public, intentional, irreversible gesture, and they both did it on the same day. Now Billboard added a third lane to the coverage. They covered the BIA tweet that responded to Cardi's diss with a now legendary line. Can you name someone with more BMS than receiving yards? That outlet, per the Billboard rap beef coverage, framed the entire situation as a rap beef extension between Cardi and BIA, with Stefon as a collateral damage in the punchline. Same incident. 3 different storylines depending on which outlet you read. Some Stefon fans online are still claiming Cardi and Stefon never broke up. It was all cap, they are still together behind closed doors. But those are the same people who thought he was gonna torch the Super Bowl with 7 targets and a 100-yard game. He finished with 3 catches for 37 yards and a breakup on the flight home. The receipts don't lie. The Super Bowl stat sheet doesn't lie. The Instagram unfollow doesn't lie. The tour grosses don't lie. The media tried to spin the Christmas thing, the breakup, and the Spaces 3 different ways across at least 4 major outlets: Complex, Face to Face Africa, Boston Herald, Ola, People, Billboard, XXL, Yahoo Entertainment, NBC Boston, ESPN, Fox News, Outkick, Revolt, InStyle. 14 outlets, 14 frames, 14 versions of the same week. But no matter which outlet you trust, the ending is the same. She's free. His geo-tagging her zip code. His mama is publicly campaigning for him on entertainment podcasts. That is not winning. That is not even competing. That is begging in HD with stadium lighting. But here's what nobody is saying out loud. The mainstream story is simple, clean, and entirely surface level. Cardi is a single mom moving on with her life. Stefon is a wide receiver with some legal troubles trying to reset. A blogger lied. Cardi clapped back. End of episode. See you next week. Like and subscribe. That's a version people want you to digest with your morning coffee. That's a version that fits cleanly between the Margot Robbie press tour update and the Beyoncé tour rumor. Here's what they won't tell you. Here's the part that makes this story actually matter beyond the gossip cycle. This is industry politics dressed up as a love story. Cardi B is currently sitting on the highest grossing debut arena tour by a female rapper in history, $70 million plus, as celebrated in the XXL via Facebook industry post. That kind of money means she is no longer just a celebrity. She's not a personality. She is an asset, a line item on a label balance sheet, a revenue stream with insurance policies, a touring infrastructure with hundreds of employees, a brand with sponsorship contracts that have morality clauses written into them. And assets get protected. Assets get lawyered. Watch how clean the timing is, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. She confirmed a split mid-tour on February 15th, right when Diggs' legal problems were getting loudest. Then her Spaces nukes a blogger in June right when a brand needs to look like an absolute fortress heading into a summer of festival headlines, brand deals, and the aftermarket campaign for her tour. None of that is accidental. None of it. That's a label machine, a tour management machine, a publicist machine, and a personal brand machine all rowing in the same direction at the same time. Cardi isn't reacting to drama. Cardi is quarterbacking it. She's choosing the moments, choosing the targets, choosing platforms. Spaces wasn't random. Spaces is a one platform where she can go fully unfiltered without a producer cutting the commercial. The Super Bowl breakup announcement wasn't random. It was in front of a sold-out LA crowd that was already on her side. The Christmas tweet wasn't random. It caught the holiday news low when the entire entertainment internet was bored and refreshing. Meanwhile, Stefon, his mama is doing his publicity for him. Per the Yahoo Entertainment coverage of Stefon Diggs' media appearances, she's a one out here publicly campaigning for Cardi to take her son back. Stefon is being run like a backup punter while Cardi is running the whole playbook from a pocket with a clean offensive line. That is not a fair fight. That was never a fair fight. That's a heavyweight champion sparring with a guy who showed up to the gym in flip-flops. Now look at the historical pattern. This is the same script we have watched 100 times in hip-hop and R&B, where the woman levels up after the breakup and the man wakes up 6 months later asking why she's posting jet selfies in Capri. Halle Berry did it. Mary J. Blige did it. Rihanna did it after Chris Brown. Beyoncé did it metaphorically in Lemonade. The men in those stories always show up at the exact same moment, when she stops needing them. When the calls stop, the geotags start. When the texts go ignored, the Instagram stories get louder. Stefon dropping a Harlem geotag the same week she went nuclear on a blogger, and her name was back at the top of every feed. He is running the oldest play in the male ego playbook. I'll just be around. She'll see me. She'll remember the good times. She'll soften. Brew. She's not softening. She's booking arenas. She's signing endorsement deals. She's having lunch meetings about a residency in Vegas. Stefon is repeating the same exact mistakes that ended Offset's marriage to her. We have already watched this movie. We know how it ends. He's on the losing side of history, and the historical pattern says he doesn't get to win this round just because he wants to. Now, the psychological warfare layer, because this is where it gets really interesting and almost nobody is talking about it. Cardi did something on that Spaces that almost nobody caught on first listen. She pulled the DV rumor and the baby photo allegation into the same breath. Same sentence cluster. Same emotional pitch. Why? Why combine those two specific accusations against the blogger in the same monologue? Because that's how you nuke a blogger's monetization. That's not just offense. That's offense disguised as defense. The moment you accuse someone of trafficking or circulating photos of a minor, advertisers ghost overnight. Brand safety algorithms suppress your content. Platform quietly derank your posts. Ad networks pool. The very act of being publicly associated with that allegation, true or not, is a death sentence for any independent gossip operation. As captured in the complex transcript, Cardi made sure to use the exact phrasing sick and twisted right next to the baby allegation. That language travels. That language gets clipped. That language gets used in trust and safety reports. She didn't just defend herself. She turned that blogger into a content moderation problem. That is chess. That is grandmaster-level brand warfare. Every petty gossip account that thought they had a free shot at Barty is now playing checkers while Cardi is sitting 2 moves ahead with a defamation lawyer on retainer and a brand safety team auditing every mention. Every move he makes. Every move they make it predictable. She is already 3 steps ahead. She has already won. The blog cycle just hasn't caught up to the result yet. Then the authenticity angle, which is the one that's going to age the worst for Stefon over the next 24 months. The story being publicly sold is good dad spending Christmas with all his kids. Nothing to see here, just a man trying to be present for his children. That's the Ola, framing in a sentence. But every smart hip-hop fan, every NFL fan paying attention, every gossip blog reader who knows how to read between the lines knows that JG was never Stefon being a dad. Nobody was clowning him for loving his kids. Nobody. The gag, the actual gag, was a timeline. 3 babies born in 2025 alone with 3 different women. A chef lawsuit. A defamation countersuit. Multiple civil suits with overlapping accusations of him allegedly sending associates to handle disputes as detailed across NBC Boston and Yahoo Sports. His whole family man persona is manufactured. It's a press release, not a lifestyle. And it's falling apart in real time on the public docket. Stefon is rewriting history in real time because his real story isn't impressive enough to ride into the post-NFL chapter. The Harlem geotag isn't romance. It's not nostalgia. It's not even loneliness. Really. It's a man trying to graft Cardi's clean, Grammy-winning, $70M tour brand back onto a resume that's about to enter discovery in 3 different courtrooms across 2 different states. He needs her image more than he needs her love. And that is the truth they will not put in a People headline. So what happens next? Let's forecast. Here's what's most likely to happen over the next 90 days, and you all can screenshot this and come back to me in September. Cardi is going to give Stefon Diggs absolutely nothing. No public response to the Harlem post. No Instagram follow back. No subtle like on a story. No cryptic Bardagang tweet that could be interpreted as a soft signal. No comment. No nothing. She is going to let the silence cook him alive. Silence, when wielded by a woman who controls a news cycle, is the loudest possible response. And Cardi just spent 6 months proving she controls the news cycle. When Cardi doesn't respond, Stefon is going to look desperate screaming into the void of his own Instagram stories. He'll geotag a few more spots, maybe Brooklyn, maybe a Knicks game at the Garden, maybe one of her favorite Dominican restaurants in Washington Heights, maybe a paparazzi-friendly Soho lunch, and he is going to watch every single one of those tags get 0 traction. 0. Because he's already at rehearsal for the next era, working with her producers on the next body of work, locked in a studio that doesn't have a window for him to wave through. Stefon will try to escalate by posting cryptic captions about loyalty and real ones, and they don't make them like they used to, and nobody is going to care. The comments will be Patriots fans asking why his hands didn't work in the Super Bowl. The silence is going to hurt Stefon more than any diss track Cardi could ever record. Because silence from the most vocal woman in hip-hop? That's not absence. That's a verdict. Now, if Stefon does a truly desperate thing and actually pulls up to one of Cardi's events or sends some flashy public gift, a Birkin, a car, a piece of jewelry photographed by coincidence, it's going to backfire even harder. If Cardi posts a single laughing emoji in response, the internet will roast him into orbit. Into low orbit. He will be a meme by sundown. He will be a TikTok sound by Tuesday. He will be a Saturday Night Live cold open by the weekend. Stefon Diggs is not ready for what's coming if Cardi takes this even semi-seriously and decide to put him in a song. Because if she puts him on wax, game over. Career-defining over. We already saw what she did to her last ex without even directly naming him, on tracks like Pretty and Petty, in the BIA shots, in the Baby Daddy interludes mid-tour, in the entire visual rollout of the Little Miss Drama era, all chronicled in the Boston Herald tour coverage. She didn't need to say a name to bury a marriage. She used cadence and choreography. Stefon doesn't stand a chance in a public narrative war with a Grammy winner whose tour just grossed $70 million. He's playing for paid endorsements. She's playing for legacy. He's playing for a slot on a sports podcast. She's playing for the Rolling Stone Top 500. That's not the same arena. That's not even the same sport. Now looking at the bigger picture, the macro view, the 5-view forecast, and mark my words on this one, this Spaces moment, paired with that Harlem geotag, is going to be the defining inflection point of Stefon Diggs' post-NFL identity. Here's a wide receiver with maybe 3 or 4 years of elite play left, no Super Bowl ring, a string of civil cases on the public docket, and a Patriots release watch hanging over him every offseason, according to the Yahoo Entertainment Career Outlook coverage. When the football career ends, and in the NFL it always ends sooner than you think. His second act was supposed to be media, endorsements, a Fox or ESPN analyst chair, maybe a Netflix doc, maybe a hosting gig at the ESPYs, maybe a Madden cover, maybe a small acting role in a Kevin Hart movie, maybe a Players Tribune essay that goes viral, and being publicly co-signed by Cardi B, being photographed with the highest-grossing female rap tour of all time, was a cheat code. That co-sign would have opened every door the football resume alone could not unlock. He blew that cheat code. He blew it in a Christmas Instagram caption. He blew it in a Super Bowl loss. He blew it in a felony arraignment. He blew it in 3 different civil dockets. He blew it in a Harlem geotag posted out of pure desperation. 5 years from now, when ESPN does the inevitable Where Are They Now segment, people are going to look back at that single Harlem geotag as a desperate flag of a man who realized, too late, way too late, that he had just been benched from the WAG era. Stefon Diggs is watching the culture move on without him, in real time, in HD, with subtitles, and there is nothing he can do about it. He cannot post his way back. He cannot lawyer his way back. He cannot leak his way back. He cannot let his mama publicly campaign him back into her life. The culture has already decided. The receipts have already been filed. The tour has already grossed. The verdict has already been written, and his name is in the wrong column. Meanwhile, Cardi is going to pull a Rihanna. Another tour, another album, another business, another brand deal, another Vegas residency rumor, another magazine cover where she's in something white and impossible. Another award show moment where the camera cuts to her in the front row laughing at a joke nobody else heard. Another era. And another. And another. Whatever happens next, whether Stefon goes silent and accepts the L, whether he doubles down and embarrasses himself further, whether he tries a I've changed press tour 12 months from now, whether he writes a memoir, whether he marries someone else fast, whether he disappears into Maryland with his kids and never logs on again, one thing is already crystal undeniably, mathematically clear to anybody paying attention. Stefon already lost. The blogger already lost. The narrative already lost. And Cardi B? Cardi B is in the studio. Cardi B is in rehearsal. Cardi B is in negotiations. Cardi B is in her bag. And we're just here watching her count it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found.